This is Daniel Zieger with the Georgia Public Library Service, and in this video I'll be walking you through some of the basics of collaboration and working remotely with G Suite. Go ahead and jump right in with the Gmail interface. In the Gmail interface, you will notice that there is a chat functionality over here on the left. This is the basic Hangouts chat system for G Suite. I kind of like to think of it as a quick chat area. So if I want to talk to anybody, you can see results of people I've talked to before here, or you can click down on this center icon of Hangouts Conversations, and you can see conversations I've been having right here. This is my test account, and this is me speaking to my real account. If I want to create a new conversation, I can click this plus right here, and I can either create a group conversation, or I can search for a specific single user to speak with. So I'm going to search for Myers, one of my coworkers, and here you'll see anybody within the statewide organization. You'll see them automatically populate when you start to type their name. So here is Myers, who I'm trying to speak to. If I click once, just a second, you'll see down here on the right, a conversation window will pop up. I can edit parts of this conversation by turning notifications on or off, turning on conversation history, where it keeps a log of all your conversations so that when you go back to it, you'll see what you're speaking out before, on or off. If I have this off, it will disappear after a few hours. Or if I'm done with the conversation, I can either archive or delete the conversation. And if Myers won't stop talking to me, of course, I can block him if I need to. If I want to create a group hangout between Myers and someone else, I can click this plus, and I can say, oh, let's do with Daniel and Myers, and let's create a group. Now we'll see this group has been created between the two of us, and I can even give it a name. I'm going to name it Test Group. I can also provide a link to join so that people can see all the previous messages, and I can send it to anybody else who needs to join without having to add them one by one. So now this group has been named Test Group, and I can see the two other people here. If I would like to start a quick video call with the user, I can click this video, or with the group, I can click this video right here. And if I want to edit the way I am viewed, I can share my status here. I can show whether or not I was last active. Oh, and there's Myers responding to the group he's been added to, and you can see that he is active right now because his icon is popped up right here. I can also show which device I'm on, phone, tablet, or computer. I can change notifications and how I receive them, things like that. There's a few more customizable settings down here at the bottom. And that covers the basic way of chatting with somebody over Hangouts. You also see that this stays green until you've clicked right here, and the other user will not see that you've read it with this icon down here until you've clicked in this area, and that green bar has gone away. So I'm done with these two conversations right now, but they're still here if I need to get back to them. And if I click here, I can see all of my contacts that I chat with. But there is another way of chatting with people, and that's through the Meet interface. So if you click up here, I like to call it the waffle or tic-tac-toe board. If you click on this, it shows you all of your apps. And if we go to Meet, we'll see that this is a much more simplified interface. But this interface allows you to join or start a video or voice meeting. So if we click Join or Start a Meeting, we'll name it Test Meeting. And right now it's going to join. I don't have my camera connected. Let me plug that in. There we go. And we want to allow Google to use our microphone, and we want to allow it to use our camera. So now it's started up the camera, but I'm going to go ahead and block that off, and it's connected to my microphone, which I've also got muted. Both of these are muted going into the conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Join Now. And now it's created this meeting, and it's given me the info to invite other people. So if I send anyone this link right here, they can join. If they haven't been pre-invited to the meeting, it'll pop up and ask if you want to accept that user as they join, or they can dial in from a phone number using this number in the pin. So you can easily copy this joining info, or you can add people who will get a notification in their email requesting that they join this meeting. I'm going to close that and show you some of the other features of the meeting. You can always get back to that information by clicking down here on the left, and there is all of this information. If I want to speak on this conversation, I can unmute my microphone, and now you see this bubble coming out from my icon here in the center showing that my voice is being transmitted. If I want to turn on the camera, I just click this button and it will enable the camera. There are a few other really cool options in here, like being able to turn on captions, and it will remind you as well if your microphone is muted, if it hears you speaking, which it hears me speaking right now. You can turn on captions if you want to, and it will create captions down here in the bottom automatically for you. But another really cool option that's on for all accounts until July 1st is the ability to record the meeting. So you can click right here. Please make sure that you let anyone that is at this meeting know that it is being recorded. But you can record this meeting with one click right here, and when it's done, you'll get an email telling you that it has been saved to your Google Drive. You can also full screen this if you'd like. And you can go to settings to see more settings, where you can select your microphone or your speakers where you want the information to come out and where you want it to be picked up from. So this is the microphone I'm using right now. If I want it to come to this same headset I'm wearing, I can click that right there, and then you can test these to make sure. You can click on video to see which webcam it's picking up. And you can also change that resolution of sending and receiving. So if you've got poor internet quality or something like that, though it does attempt to adjust automatically, if you need to force it lower, you can drop it down to standard definition. The final setting you'll see in here is the ability to present. If you click this, you can present a window or your entire screen. If you select a window, you'll be able to select any of those windows that you have open on your computer now, and it will persist with that window. So if you minimize it or something like that, you will continue to share just that window. If you share your entire screen, you'll see you can choose different ones. We're going to choose screen 1 right here. And that is now me sharing and presenting this screen. So if I switch over to here, it's going to be presenting my email to the group. And if I hit stop sharing, it goes away. Now there are a few more options up here at the top where you can click and see all the people that are within this, and you can mute and unmute. And there's also a chat where you can type to the group, and this will persist for the duration of the call. Once you're done, you can rejoin the meeting if you need to. You can return to the home screen to start a new meeting, and you can also tell them how the audio quality and video quality were. Now that's to use a meeting out of the blue if you just need to create one instantly, but you can also schedule one. So if you go over to your calendar, which you'll see right here, we can create a meeting time if we'd like to. So I can click here, I can expand it to say more options, and then we'll see this option right here for add conferencing. If I click that, it'll say create a Hangout Meet. It gives us all the information on it, so I can send this out to people that are not on this calendar entry ahead of time if I want to. And also until July 1st, I'm able to click add live stream if I need more than 250 users within my organization being able to use this. So I could title this Test Meeting, Hangouts Meet, and I could hit save. I could add any guests I wanted to this event. That's that. And if I go to this, you'll see that when the time comes for this meeting, I can click Join Hangouts Meet, and it will immediately take me into this meeting, tell me if anyone else is in here and ready, and I can click Join. And here I am in this meeting, and when everybody else is ready to join, they'll start popping up and populating on the side. That takes you through the basics of Hangouts, Meet, and scheduling that within the calendar. Now, since we're in the calendar, let's talk about that for a minute. The calendar is where you can manage your day and meetings and things like that with others. You're able to search for other people if you want to add their calendars. They will have to accept that if you want to add, but let's try and add there. And you can see that I have Free Busy automatically enabled, so anybody can see when I'm available to schedule meetings if they need to. So this way I can say, oh look, I'll be available right now during this period or after 10 p.m. today. If I want to create a meeting, we'll use this test meeting as an example. I can click here on it. I can do basic edits from here, delete. I can also email my guests. So if I'm working with a group, I can quick email them, especially if it's related to this meeting, through this button. And then you can print or duplicate, copy it over to different calendars that you have. But if we click edit here, it'll take us back to this full edit position. This is where I can add other guests. So I can add people to invite to this group. You can change their permissions, so whether or not they're allowed to modify this event. So if you're working on this with a couple other people, you can allow them to modify it if they need to. You can allow them to invite others and whether or not they can see the guest list. If you're using a room, or we also use this room section for devices, like if you're using a specific conference speaker, something like that, you can select it here to add it to this meeting. You can provide yourself with various notifications. So if I want, I can say, email me 2 hours before this meeting, just as a good reminder to make sure I'm ready for it. You can change the color of how it shows up on your calendar. You can change how you're visible during it. You can add a description to it. And you can change your time up here. You can get more specific with your timing. Same options as before up here. And then we hit save. Now I've added a guest, so it's asking if I want to send an email out to these new guests. So yes. And now my account will receive an email requesting I join this calendar entry. So that's the basics of calendar. I often also use all-day events, which are up here in this portion, to say reminder to turn in notes. And now I've created this as an all-day event, and at the beginning of the day this will pop up and I'll see all of my all-day events. So that's a good way to keep track of reminders. There's also the ability to access your Keep notes, which are kind of like post-it notes for Google, online post-it notes, or your tasks, which are another way of doing this, right here on this sidebar. Now, just like with all Google applications, this waffle is available up here at the top. I'm going to click it and I'm going to take us over to Drive. So Drive is where you store all of your files. It's also where you can share files out with others too and search for them as you need them. There are a few ways of using Drive. There's the all online format, which is what we're doing right here. So if I want to create files or move files around, I can drag them from my desktop onto here. Or I can click New to create files and folders within my Drive. But there's also the hybrid method, which allows you to install a desktop application. And the way you can get to that, I've got a pop-up right here reminding me to do it, but the way you can always get to it is up here on this gear icon. You can click Get Drive for Desktop. This will open another window where you're able to download and install FileStream, whether Windows or Mac, whatever you need to download it for. Once you download and install this, it will ask you to log in with your credentials, and it will put a window on your computer that allows you to access your drive mirrored onto your machine as if it's sitting on your machine. This is great if you need to work in non-Google native formats. For instance, if you're working in an Office document, because you can double click it on your desktop as if it's another folder that's already there. It will download the document immediately and allow you to edit that document. When you're editing that document, there is actually a plugin for Word that will let you know if somebody else is using it at the same time. That helps keep conflicts from happening. And if you want to share or collaborate with people, that's one of the huge benefits of the Drive platform. You can create docs, sheets, or slides, which are similar to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. There's actually a little bit more. You can do forms for surveys, things like that in here, and create your own sites. But just for an example, if I create a new doc and I say new project, if I want to share this with somebody and work on it simultaneously with them, or be able to just share what I'm working on, I can click this share button up here on the right. We'll see a basic way to share where I can put in a name, such as mine, send it, and I can choose what kind of rights that person has. So if I want them to be able to actually collaborate on the document with me, I can say can edit. If I just want them to be able to see what changes are being made, I can say can view. But there's also an advanced section here down at the bottom where I can add more people. I can send copies to myself, all sorts of things there. I can prevent the editors from changing access. I can prevent the options to download, print, or copy for if somebody's set as a commenter or viewer. But the most important area is right here where you can click change. And this is where you can set the different levels of settings for the link if you're sharing a link out. So off lets you only share it with specific people. On lets you share it to anybody in Georgia's libraries with the link that's on our G Suite. And then you can set the level of what they're allowed to do, edit, view, or comment with that link. This lets anyone in Georgia libraries find and access it, meaning they can search for the document. They don't actually need the link. And then this is the same thing as these two, just for the public. So anyone with the link can access, no sign-in required, so they will not need a G Suite account to see this. I can actually even allow them to edit it without a G Suite account whatsoever. But only people with a link will be able to do that. And then if I want to go really crazy, I can say public on the web altogether can edit, and then it's just crazy. So we're going to say anyone with the link can view this because I want to make this document public for people to be able to see, anybody I want to send it to. But then I want myself to be able to edit it, and I want this user I'm sharing it with to be able to edit it. So I'm going to hit send on this. And now it's sent an invite, and I can change that level of rights at any moment. This will work the exact same way with any Google Doc out there. So if we switch back over to Drive and we create a slide or a sheet, you'll see the exact same ability to share right up here at the top. You'll also see you have the ability to open your comment history and make comments here on the side. And when you have multiple people working on this at the same time, you'll see a little cursor in a different color. You'll see their name pop up here on the right. You'll see a cursor in a different color, and if you hover over it, it'll show you which user it is that's working on there. And you can have hundreds of users simultaneously typing on these sheets. It does not get as crazy as it sounds. So this covers most of the sharing within G Suite. I do want to remind you that if you need to get to any of these applications, they're all up here. You can view all your contacts over here. There's a more comprehensive form of chat here that's kind of similar to Slack or Microsoft Teams. But you're going to be spending most of your time probably here in your Gmail chatting with people here on the side or creating events within the calendar. So this will conclude our training on working remotely with G Suite. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you require any additional support. Thank you.